Okay, the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to install the lead screws, and I hope I've got a good enough camera angle here where you can see this. Again, I've already got the couplings fastened on here, and just so you can see how that goes on, I'm pretty sure you can probably see this. These just have a couple little screws that tighten. This half of this is threaded to match the Acme threads, and then the other half is just a 1/4 inch hole for the shaft of the stepper motor. So the easiest way to do this is to push this all the way forward, and you can bring this in and just start turning that into the lead screw. And then once it goes in, I know you probably can't see it from that camera angle, you just screw it in a little bit until it starts going into that bearing. And it should also make this part right here just inside this frame rail here. Okay, from this shot you can see that I've already installed the one on the other side. I've got this one installed on this side, got them just into the bearings, and now I'm going to go ahead and put I'll go ahead and put those stepper motors on. The stepper motors are all the same. The wires coming out of the controller are color coded, but the stepper motors are all the same, so it doesn't really matter which ones you grab to put on here. So what I'm going to do is, I've got just a little tiny Allen wrench here. I'm not even sure what size this is. I'll have to get the calipers and measure this to see. But it goes into these little set screws here on the coupling, and I want to make sure that I loosen them up because I probably snugged them back up a little just so they wouldn't fall out and I'd lose them when I took this thing back apart. So you just kind of slide the shaft back on there, and as far as the stepper motors go here, these holes here inside this around where the motor mount goes, they are all 1024 tapped holes, so you don't need to put a hex nut on there. It's just much easier to tap those. So I will put this in here. Okay, so this stepper motor is now on there securely. So what I'm going to do now is take this Allen wrench and go back and tighten these screws. And there's, like I said, there's 2 screws, so you want to snug one up, alternate to the other one, tighten it a little bit, keep going back and forth. Don't try to crank down on one a whole lot at one time. Just kind of a little bit of a turn here and there until you get the things on there really snug. Okay, so that one is on there. Now let me step in front of the camera here and we'll do this other side. Okay, I've got the Y-axis motors all attached and the couplings tightened up. Now I'm going to run this one through, and like I said, you just kind of put it in there just like you would putting a screw into a nut. It will open up and start coming through there, and then I can just keep screwing this in, and I want that to go right in there like that, just to support that end of the rod. Spacer block. Again, the notch goes to this side and this opening here goes out, so you can get to the coupling easy enough. Okay. Yeah. Push this one on in here. There we go. And then you can put these nuts on here. And really, is part of the reason I needed to buy a longer Phillips screwdriver. I didn't have one really longer. I had one, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to buy another one. Was mainly for when I'm doing this, because when you're trying to screw these stepper motors in, you've got a long distance, and this wouldn't reach with that hand. So I can just tighten these up. And again, all you really have to do with these Keps nuts is just kind of hold your finger on them until you get it against the metal, and then they grab and they tighten right on up. That's why I like to use them on stuff like this. Okay, now I want to go back and actually want to pull that this way a bit. And I'm just going to turn that so that I can get to those Allen set screws here, so that I can snug those up. And you do want to make sure you get those snug. Like I said, you don't want to over tighten, but you want to make sure you get them snugged up good, because if your motor's turning and that's slipping, then you're going to lose steps and ruin your workpiece when you're cutting. So you have to just keep taking your time, going back and forth. Probably just, maybe not even 1/8 of a turn, maybe just a little bit. Okay, so now that one's on there.